to the Knitting Eillets podcast. It's episode 6. I am overwhelmed to have you here and to greet you here on this channel. I'm Saskia. I'm a 35-year-old knitter from Switzerland. I started knitting, I think I learned it back in school, way back, and I somehow always knit a little bit, but I had 5-year gaps in between my projects, which were only kind of scarves. And the garment knitting, the knitting every day, and it really got to me kind of 2 years ago. In May this year, I decided I wanted to do a podcast, and I am overwhelmed that we have almost 70 subscribers. Thank you so much and welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back to those who have been here before. I want to try this time to edit a bit less and to talk a bit more freely. I was inspired for this by Venicia from The Woolly Worker, who made a very lovely knit and chat video where she almost didn't edit anything, and I was like, does it bother me that there are thinking breaks or trouble finding words maybe and arms in it? And I realized I didn't mind it at all, but I always mind it very much when I edit my own videos. I'm very aware of all my ums and weird noises and word finding problems I have sometimes. Because English is not my maternal language. It's a learned language for me, so I will make mistakes. I sometimes may not find the absolute correct terms and words to describe something. I hope you don't mind. I still want to do my podcast in English, not in German, because Swiss German is quite specific and not many people understand it, and you will not get any translations anywhere in the internet. It's quite hard, and sometimes YouTube does this automatic translation thingy. It doesn't work with Swiss German, of course. And the normal standard German we also have in Switzerland, it's maybe not as much as a second language as English is, but it is also a second language for me. Yeah, I would also have to think a bit more whilst speaking than I would have to do in Swiss German, so in dialect. So yeah, I just choose to do my podcast in English to reach more people. Otherwise, whole continents and whole islands where I love watching podcasts of, like America, Canada, Britain, Ireland and other countries, they would kind of be left out a bit. And I think that's a pity, because I find it very interesting to see knitting podcasts from other countries, also from Norway or Sweden, and to see what they knit, what yarn they use, it's just very interesting. Sometimes it's very similar and sometimes it's very different, and there are trends and what's going on over there. And I also love watching podcasts from Australia or New Zealand, because it's so different, because they have the seasons kind of the other way around. So now we are going into winter and they are going into summer, which might give me some more inspiration for my next summer to come, which is, I find that very nice. I have 2 finished knitting objects. I have 2 finished sewing objects, and I have 2 finished objects which have nothing to do with knitting at all, but I want to show them to you nonetheless, because I think it's interesting to see other crafts. I will put those 2 things at the end, so those who are really not interested in non-knitting content, they can just go out or slip out a bit earlier, or slip on to another podcast a bit earlier. And the ones who want to see it, they can stay, of course. You're very welcome to stay. Please, if you want to support this channel, it would mean a lot to me if you would hit the subscribe button and the like button. I never thought it would mean something to me. When I started this, I was expecting kind of 4 subscribers and maybe 20 views, and I was blown away about how many views my videos got. So I am wearing today the Menuet pullover by Tricot, design MCL, I think. I really love this. It is a lovely pattern with some lovely kind of bell-shaped sleeves. I changed. Normally in the pattern you would have kind of a crochet, kind of a ruched edge, not a ruched, kind of a crochet border. For me this was a bit too frilly. I don't like too frilly. I love nice patterns, but I just did an I-cord bind off all the way around the neckline, and I really like how this looks. As you can see, I'm wearing a kind of skin-colored t-shirt underneath, just because it's a bit see-through otherwise. I do normally wear a t-shirt underneath because of the wool, but let me first show you how this looks like. So you just seen my really lovely trainee pants. So it's quite a long one, and I really love this detail down the front. At the side and the back it's just plain. You have a plain ribbing at the bottom, also on the sleeves. I really love how this is fitting, how this is feeling, and yeah, I really love to wear this one. The pattern is very well written. It was no problem to follow it. I really loved knitting the pattern, and I really love the pattern, and I really want, yeah, I think I want to knit another one because it's just such a nice fit and nice design. And with the I-cord bind off here, I really like it. It was the part of the pattern when I looked at the photo, I was like, I'm not sure if this is my style really. It's a bit too frilly, and I think it's inspired by medieval dresses kind of, and I really love that. The wool is, I think, my most expensive wool I've purchased so far, and this is what I had left. So of course, because it was that expensive, I didn't want to buy more than I actually needed. I could have made a headband or so out of it, of course, but I'm very glad that this is all that is left, and I will keep it. If there would be something to be repaired, I would have the same dial out. So the wool is a cashmere silk blend by a Swiss manufacturer. It's a Seiden Atelier Gottlieben. That's the place where they are. It's the website is seidenatelier.ch, and it's 65% cashmere and 35% silk, and it's plant dyed. So it's absolutely natural plant dyed. Let me see if you can see this. Oh, sorry, I have a blister in my hand because of the garden work. Let me show you with the other hand. Oh, is that okay? So it's the softest thing I've ever touched. It's actually like a cloud. And it's so light and airy. It's like you wear nothing, actually. You don't feel that you're wearing anything. That's why I love this wool, but of course it was quite expensive. I'm not sure anymore if it's the Cashmina or the cashmere silk, because this one is 200 meters per 50 grams. And it's 3 to 4. Yeah, maybe it was this one with the 200. It's the same content. It's both the same dyes, the plant-based dyes. It's just the meterage is different, but I don't think it's the one with 500 meters on it. I think it's the one with 200 meters on it. I'm not sure though. So I had 3 or 4 skeins of this, and yeah, I had to make the whole sweater, so I wouldn't have had enough to crochet this edge anyways, but I prefer it that way, style-wise. The problem was the plant-based dyes is that I also make my deodorant myself. I make deodorant creams, and it somehow reacted with the plant-based color. And when I first had it, and I think you can still see it, you can see a slight discoloration here, and this is really nothing. It was bright blue when I first wore it. I blocked it, of course, I washed it, then I wore it, nothing underneath except a bra, because I can wear it next to skin without that problem, which is great. But I don't sweat much, but I sweat a little bit because cashmere is really warm. And afterwards, when I put it off, I was so shocked. I saw I had these blue stains underneath, because I think this color somehow dyed with an indigo a bit, and it somehow reacted with my deodorant. And I was really panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, it's ruined. I cannot wear something that has bright blue patches underneath my arms. It was terrible. So I said, okay, nothing for it. I kind of wash it very carefully and cold by hand, but with a bit of the wool washing, kind of rub it in a bit. If it felts a bit, I don't mind. It's underneath my arms. It will felt maybe anyways. So I washed it, and luckily it mostly got out. If you see very closely, you can see that there is still a slightly more purplish part, but you can't see it in daily life. I don't walk around like this, so yeah, if I do it quickly, you might not see it, or you might think it's a shadow or something. It's okay. But I will only wear it with t-shirts underneath now, so that I have a kind of a fabric in between. And it didn't happen again. I don't know if it would happen again if I left off the t-shirt, because now it's kind of washed out or something. But yeah, I will not risk it. So I only wear this when it's very cold anyways, quite cold. And so I don't mind wearing a kind of a cotton t-shirt underneath it to protect it a bit from my deodorant cream I made. And it's not much in there. I don't know what reacted. Maybe it would have reacted anyways. Maybe it's not the deo cream, it's the sweat. I don't know. Yeah, just plant-based dyed fibers. I might keep in mind that they might react to wearing them with deodorant or sweat or something, that they might make a reaction I don't want. But otherwise, I'm really happy. And yeah, some headband or something would be very nice in this. I also like the color on me. I was never a kind of a pinkish rose girly. I was always like, oh no, I don't like that. But I really like the color, actually. I think it does much for me. It's nice. So let's go on to finished objects. First, the knitting objects. I have only two small ones. My first ones are my autumnal socks, and guys, I just love them. They are actually not blocked. They look like this unblocked. It's very good. I just wore them once or twice when it was quite cold. The yarn is the Manos del Uruguay yarn, Alegria, I think it was called when I showed it to you last time. It's a very simple toe-up sock, my vanilla recipe with the toe, 3x1 rib on the top of the foot, shadow wrap short row heel, 3x1 rib on the upper part, and the 1x1 rib. And I always do a kind of a mixture of a stretchy and the normal cast off. Like I do 5 stitches in the stretchy cast off, where you kind of knit it and then you knit again through it. So you knit 2 stitches and you knit them kind of together through the back loop, and then you knit the next one and knit them together through the back loop. That's kind of my stretchy bind off, but I find if I only do this, it kind of flares out almost because it's that stretchy. So every 5th or 6th stitch I will make a kind of a normal bind off, where I just lift the one stitch over the other, so it gives it a bit more stability and it's not too tight. I'm absolutely in love with this color. It is so gorgeous, and when I look out my window here and I hold this next to it, it's exactly how the forests around my home now look, what they look like. It's the same colors, and oh, I just love it. It's my colors. I love them. These autumnal, brownish, greenish, orangey, but not too bright reddish colors. I just love them. I knit them with 2.75 millimeters needles and 56 stitches. Yes, I wanted to try a bit of a denser gauge once for a sock, and I have to say I prefer it. It's really nice. For the cuff, I went down a half a needle size to 2.5 millimeters needle. Yeah, I don't particularly like knitting with those. It's just a bit too small for me, but for a little cuff like this, it's fine. I love them. I will wear them, and yeah, so happy with those. The second finished object is really just finished. It's not blocked. It's not, I haven't sewn in the ends. It's a bit of a mess if you look at it. But I think it's interesting to see how this looks when it's just knitted up. And it's another Linna headband from Herbgardenknitwear. I made one in purple for me. And this one is made from for someone else. I will not tell you. It's a bit of a surprise, of a Christmas gift maybe. I really like this pattern. It's so mindless and easy to knit, but yet still interesting. Especially with this crossing part here, where you start knitting the first part and then you knit the second part and then you kind of cross it and put it back together. But you see, I still have to weave in all the ends. I want to block it. I want to give it a little stitch here so these two parts don't kind of mess around. It stays where it should. And then of course I have to sew it together. But I will do this when it's blocked, because like this it's really hard to sew it together nicely. So I always do this in blocked form. And yeah, then it's ready to go. But I still have some time until Christmas, so no hurry there. Yeah, the wool is the Rico Baby. I just found a ball band, luckily. Rico Baby Classic Print DK. It's an acrylic wool, 50% polyacrylic and 50% polyamide. It's a very soft one. It's the same one I used for the little Sorgenfrei jacket. And I had leftovers and I used it for this headband. And I really like the colors. Not my colors, but I think for the person I'm intending to give this, they should be perfect. I hope so. Hope you have something nice to drink. I'm having a bit of raspberry syrup. Now my next two finished objects are kind of knitting related, but are actually sewing projects. I did some project bags. I did a small one, which is very autumnal. I love it. This fabric here with the small flowers was, is it just a normal cotton quilting fabric? I bought it kind of as a quilting set, and I love to make small project bags with this. This is just a simple DIY drawstring bag after a tutorial on YouTube. I can link it, of course. No, I'm not sure I can link it, but I will write it in the description box. The upper part actually is cut-offs from my curtains. So you know now what kind of curtains are in my living room. It's with nice wild flowers on it. And I actually had to take this one here, I had to take it double. So it gives it a bit of a stability. It's quite a gazy, light fabric, like very openly woven. And I took it double, and inside is this lovely red satin fabric, which was a scrap. And I kind of love this as an inside fabric because it's slippery, it's very tightly woven. It's and it's a nice color pop. I think it's almost this red here, and I love it. I always do just some satin strings or cordula, twisted stringy things. So yeah, I just put it like this, make a nice little knot in it, and then I could take it in my bag and walk around with it. This is perfect for a pair of socks. Then I also made a bit of a bigger bag. It's the same pattern, same tutorial. I now know it by heart. She gives you the directions for a small one, and I kind of sized it up myself to have a bit of a bigger project bag for scarves, shawls, or jumpers. Here is the wool now for my Goldwing sweater is living in here right now. And I took also some fabric. I bought, well, of course I took some fabric. I meant to say I took some scrap fabric. The one at top, the brown one, is a brown Manchester fabric. I once made a skirt for myself out of this one, which is still in use, and this was kind of a cutoff. And the bottom part is kind of a Christmas cotton quilting fabric I bought in kind of a Christmas set, wasn't expensive. And inside is this lovely green, it looks more blue now in the camera, but it is actually really green, like a deep green, like this one. I also put the same string, golden string satin band in it to be closed. And I think it just looks autumny, Christmassy, but in a nice way. And as you've seen, I kind of played around with my sewing machine a bit. I like to do that. If I have a plain fabric on the top, I like to do try out these little stitches. So I think it just gives it a nice little extra. And I also did a visible top stitching, which is not the neatest, I have to admit, but yeah, it's fine. It works as a project bag. Love it. So now let's go to works in progress. At the moment, I only have 2. I have proceeded knitting on my, on my Yvonne MT shawl. So there was where I stopped it last spring, and this part is all I've made so far. So it's quite wide. It's getting wider and wider, of course, and it's really tangled up, and it's really long already. So I really have to stretch my arms for this. Yeah, I just love knitting on it at the moment. The yarn is not itchy anymore. It's cool enough to work with it. And I just love this mosaic stitch pattern. It is just gorgeous. And the plain part is looking like this. And I really love this edge here with the waves at the end. It's just, it's a lovely pattern. It will take some more time because I have to repeat this part now, which is chart 2, I think. I have to repeat kind of 8 times, and I'm at the 6th repetition, and 1 repetition is 48 rows. So, and it takes quite long with the lifting the stitches and knit and lift, and yeah, it's not hard, but it's you have to concentrate. So I have to concentrate that I don't make mistakes. So Yvonne MT Shawl by Natasja Hornby. Moonstruck Knits is I think her label called. It's a lovely pattern, and again, I love the colors, and I think this golden brownish thing, it's very nice when I can wear it as a shawl once. I'm looking forward to have the finished objects, but I always love wearing them when I wear all my shawls I knit quite a lot, and I know it's something I will wear, and I'm looking forward to having it. My second work in progress is my Goldwing sweater by Jennifer Steingass. Let me see, is that front? Yes, that's the front. So it is quite finished, as you can see. I finished the yoke last time. I now finished both sleeves. It went quite quickly, and I decided to do them before I do the rest of the body. Yeah, I made a mistake in the bind off of the sleeves, as you might be able to see. I'm not sure if it's visible or if it's not, and I have tons of ends to weave in. The pattern, let me see which one is it. Yeah, the pattern wants you to do this kind of I-cord bind off. I did it really after pattern. I just added 1 or 2 more rows of the white, and it's a two stitch I-cord bind off. I'm not sure anymore, because when I was finished with this one, I knitted the second sleeve, and I was like, oh yeah, I-cord bind off, I know how this works. And I did a 3 stitch I-cord bind off like I normally do, and I prefer the look of this one. I just think it looks rounder and neater, and it doesn't curl that much up. Like this one rolls really badly, and this one is much nicer. And I think if it's blocked, it will really stay like this. I will block it. I will see how it looks like. I think if you hold it next together, and I normally don't walk around like this, so I don't think you will see it necessarily, and I can compare if I like them. If not, I can rip this back. I have enough white yarn left over to make a 3 stitch I-cord bind off. Oh, and I just love the pattern. Oh, I'm looking forward to wearing this so much. It's just, when I see it, it's just, I have to smile. It's why I bought the pattern. I just saw this color work, and I was like, I need to have this. And I didn't check on Ravelry about projects and whatever and problems and anything. I just bought it. I guess I need to have this. Look at this. It is so gorgeous. I guess I will have it finished, hopefully, by mid-November or something. So when the really cold and gruesome weather is here, I can snuggle up in it. I have enough yarn. I was a bit worried about the red, if I had enough of the red, but I still have 2 balls left of the Mayflower Classic Easy Care Merino Classic. This is color 236, and the white I used is the color 216. And I have 2 balls of the red one, and the one that is currently in working state. my balls of yarn always look like this. It's terrible. They don't stay as they're supposed to be. Yeah, I hope it's enough. I'm a bit worried already, hate the game Yarn Chicken. But then we'll see. It's a very common brand, so I might be able to even find the same dye lot if I need to. I don't think. I can see now how far this one gets me, and I think 1 more ball and then the ribbing. Second one will be enough. So let's go to plans and acquisition. When I finish my Goldwing sweater, I will start the Icelandic colorwork yoke sweater for my dad. This will give me a lot of knitting because he will have more stitches to go around. And yeah, I'm looking forward to knit that one and start this. I also plan to start knitting on my really warm, chunky, bulky weight sweater. And that is where I have a little acquisition. I know I said I will not buy any yarn till New Year, but I figured I cannot start this sweater without topping up. You might remember from my, was it my second podcast? Where I came back from Scotland, I think. So I bought this bulky weight yarn from Bum Threads. It's an alpaca silk wool blend. It's as you see, it's wound up. It's really nice. It's a bulky weight. It's soft. It's so lovely. I love the colors with these little yellow speckles in it, and it's a kind of a bluish, greenish petrol color. It's not as bright blue as it seems, but I don't have too much. It was quite expensive and not too many meters, of course, because of the bulky weight. I have about 600 meters of this, which for a jumper is quite, well, not enough. So I bought in my local yarn shop, well, local, I live in Switzerland near the city of Basel. And in Basel there is my local yarn shop where I always go if I need something that I cannot choose from the internet, where I need to be there and kind of hold it together or see, is this the correct way? Is this the correct color? If I need some advice with a pattern, the owner is so helpful. And I bought this Wool Addicts Long Glory yarn. I'm not sure which one is the name now. It's alpaca, let me see. Oh no, it's 100% wool, merino wool. And I took it because it seems to have, let me see if I can show you this. It seems to be kind of the same thickness. The bum thread is, I think, hand spun, so it varies a bit. I have, as you can see, thinner parts and thicker parts, but it's the same kind of, how much it's spun. It's kind of very similar. And I didn't want to take kind of an unspun yarn because I was afraid it would behave very differently. So I'm hoping that these two are behaving kind of the same, and I plan to use this one on the ribbings, like here, cuffs and bottom. And if I need to, if I see that it really doesn't, I don't have enough of this, I might do a little black stripe somewhere in between this one. I intend to use, and this I showed you in the autumn in between knitting plans autumn video, the Petite Knit pattern from her vest, which was called, oh, I forgot. I will write it in here how the vest is called. I just forgot now. It's a chunky weight vest or slip over, and I just intend to add sleeves. So we'll see how this is working out. I'm looking forward to this project. I have this cuddly, chunky yarn sweater for being at home. Go check on my garden quickly in winter. Just maybe do some groceries 10 meters away. Just to kind of pull it over and just be warm and cozy. So these were all of my plans and acquisitions. I have my plans already set for quite a long time. I intend to follow them. I would now come to almost the end. I will show you my two other things I made, two soaps. Before that, if you are only here for the knitting content, which I can fully understand, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, and yeah, as always, you can find me on Ravelry as Eillets and on Instagram as knitting_Eillets. If you want to message me, make me a DM, we can chat. If you feel like it, comment below. And now let's go on to the 2 soaps I made. It was time to make soaps. I'm not making soaps all the time because I have kind of a stash. They need to rest for 6 weeks at least, so to be kind of usable without being too strong. And I always kind of, when I see my stash is getting lower, I will make 1 or 2, and then I stocked up, and I will wait until these are gone again, and then I will stock up again. So maybe 2 or 3 times a year I'm doing soap. I did a lavender soap, which color-wise is one of my ugliest soaps I've ever made, I think. It's an ugly mess. It didn't work out as I planned. I wanted to have like a nice soft purple with darker purple and green smurs things in it. Yeah, it kind of, I showed you the back side, it kind of mushed all together and got this brownish, grayish, purplish color, which is not very nice. I made a little stamp on it. You see, maybe like this, it's a bit inside with a little bit of purple mica powder. So yeah, it looks a bit nicer at least. It smells very lovely though. I used essential oil, lavender of course, and I think some sandalwood is also in there. So a little bit of sandalwood and lavender oil. It's a normal soap. I think I used cocoa butter, coconut oil, shea butter, macadamia oil is in there. I had a little rest. So it's kind of also a good way to use up oils that are not the freshest anymore, and you might not want to use them, or I might not want to use them for like cosmetics where I put the pure oil sometimes on my skin. So when I have a little rest and it's not the freshest, I just pour it into a soap. Sometimes they work out nicely with the colors, sometimes they don't. The good thing is it always becomes soap and you can always use it. It just doesn't look that nice, so for gifting maybe this is not the best one, but the second one turned out quite nice. It's an almond milk soap, and I love these little forms I have with the dragonflies. This one is with perfume oils, so it's not essential, it's synthetic oils, but especially made for soaps and natural cosmetics. And I don't have a problem with the artificial scents, so no one in my family has, so it's not a big deal. Oh, this smells so good. It smells, it's a chamomile, artificial chamomile, sandalwood, but also artificial, and what was the third one? It was kind of a mixture, a blended thing, Davinia or something with a name. It's such a nice smell. And in this is almond milk, almond oil, almond butter, cocoa butter, shea butter, coconut oil, jojoba oil, of course, and castor oil is in both of them. Jojoba and castor oil are in both of them. And here's the milk, and which makes it very nice for skincare. I use these ones as my shower soaps, and this one too, you can use it as a shower soap, it's no problem. My dad also uses them as a hair soap. With short hair, I think with his short hair it's not a problem. But I also used this one or this one as hand soap, so everything. They are just for everything. These are my 2 non-knitting finished projects. Of course, I didn't make just one, I made several of both. So this was a block, which I chopped up. I think I have about 15 of those bars. And these ones were made in little silicone forms. So I have about 15, 16 also of those. I made some small ones also because I like to gift those. And yeah, they need to rest. They are actually in my cellar resting, and I can't use them for another 4 weeks. I tend to give them more than 6 weeks time. I tend to make 8 weeks out of it just to be sure, and then I test them if they are nice before I give them away. Yeah, but I don't sell them. Of course, you would need a special license in Switzerland to sell like products, beauty products or like this. Beside the soaps, I also made a calendula oil. I made other oil extractions. I made salves, healing salves with frankincense for my mom and my aunt, who have a little bit of arthrosis in their fingers, and I made them a salve they can put on their hands, which they both really like. I'm happy about that. I like to have different crafts going on and different projects, but knitting will always be part of my favorite crafts. It's the thing I do when I want to relax. I knit. The others are like crafts. I have to also sewing. I have to kind of prepare. I have to make time for it. I have to plan it out. I have to sit down and do it, or stand in my kitchen and do it. And the knitting, I can just chill on my couch and watch TV or Netflix or YouTube, knitting podcasts, and just relax. If you stayed until the end, thank you for watching until the end. I will see you next time, and I already said where you can find me, and see you. Bye.